Oh, I should be wrong.
Do you want to keep it on?
I mean, I was trying to save battery. Yes, that we just. I just turn it back on. It'll be fine. It's got a full battery.
Sure?
Yeah.
She's coming up? Okay. Okay, yeah. Okay, get ready.
She's here.
Yes.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
It's Grant.
This is Phil. She just got here. She's just been. Can you text it to me or email it to me? Phil P-H-I-L-L-A-D-K-I-N
Well, I was just going to tell her. Well, I just as long as the message is passing on to her, that's all that counts.
Yeah, where's, oh, that's the one.
Thank you, everyone. Do I need to say that this is Micah Kane, this is my girlfriend, so I say boyfriend. This is my mother, Leslie, and this is our esteemed, God bless her, Kathleen Zoner, and she's the one that has all the information, so that's who you probably want to address your questions to. So thank you for your patience.
I wanted to start by reading a statement that Ryan wrote out for everyone, because I thought it would be better to have his words. It says, "Thank you everyone for your continued support. We've won a major battle. However, the war continues. I need your help more now than ever. Look forward to sitting at the Thanksgiving table with my family if justice permits. All the best, Ryan Ferguson." So I can take questions. Fire away.
Let's talk about what the next step is in getting Ryan. I know you talked about getting him out of bond, but what's the next step to
We filed the bond motion this afternoon, and at about 4:30 we got a court order giving the state 7 days if they want to file objections to the bond motion. So they've got 7 days to do that. After that, they then have the option of trying to transfer the case to the Illinois Supreme Court, or I'm sorry, I'm still in Illinois, to the Missouri Supreme Court after they file a motion to reconsider. So the ball's in their court now. They can abandon all of this, or they can continue on.
Is there any indication of what the state is planning to do next?
No, but I think we will know that. I think we'll have some discussions with them in the next couple of days. So.
You just got back from visiting with Ryan. Tell me what it was like talking to him this afternoon.
It was great. I haven't seen him smile a lot in the last year, ever since the decision last year at this time. So he was, he looked really happy. He was smiling a lot. He was making jokes. He's a very calm person, but I think for the first time I could really see some joy in his face, which I have not seen before. So I think he was elated. This is a wonderful opinion. Everyone should read it because it's a treatise on habeas law in Missouri. It's beautifully crafted and it deals with every single detail of the case. And I don't think that there's any way that it will be overturned, but if they want to battle on, we're always up for a fight. So we'd rather not have it go that way.
Now, people seem to have the impression, people on the street, that he's being released because he's not guilty, when in fact the actual reason for release is this technicality.
No.
What is the reaction?
Well, no. Constitutional violations are not technicalities. There are Brady violations. It's the most serious thing that can happen with a trial. When the court has said this trial was not fair because it violated the Constitution, this is not a technicality. And then the court went through meticulously all the numerous pieces of evidence that were undisclosed to the defense. So this was not a fair trial. And they analyzed it all against the backdrop of the two main witnesses having recanted and saying that they had committed perjury. So make no mistake about it, there's no case in the United States like this case. So it's not a technicality. That's a layman's term, but that's not a correct legal term.
There's no physical evidence, there are no eyewitnesses now. How can they, within reason, entertain a new trial?
Well, you know, it would seem to be hard to believe, but I don't want to presume anything in this case. Hopefully rational minds will prevail and look at this, what's to be gained by it. But I could not guess what will happen, what they will decide to do.
What about prosecutorial misconduct? Is there anything about that?
It's really not an issue in this. I think the court, in this sense, the court was careful to say it didn't matter if the prosecutor knew about all these violations. It was the fact that these violations had all occurred. In fact, the language that they used was it was the trademark of this prosecution. And whether it was an investigator or the prosecutor knew made no difference to this court. But there were numerous violations that were described in the court opinion.
I think like you've done more than a dozen of these. Can you explain why, to the audience who says, why does it take so long to get a resolution in a case like this? Why does it take 9 years, 7 months to get a resolution like this?
Well, this is our 15th exoneration, my office, and there have been 3 people that we've gotten exonerated while we've been working on Ryan's case. The last person that we got out just a month ago had been in 23 years. Now, we had only represented him for a year, but it's just the nature of the review process. It's extremely difficult. It's really simple to convict someone who's innocent if you have witnesses who are lying. It's very simple. It is unbelievably difficult and complex to undo a conviction like that. And you can tell, that's why I recommend everyone study this opinion, because it shows the complexity of the law and how difficult this is. Courts don't like recognizing that mistakes have been made. But the Brady violations really deal with the fairness of the trial. Did this person have a fair trial? And that's what this case, that's why the conviction was vacated. This was not a fair trial.
And can you clarify for us if there's any legal action that your office or the Ferguson family can take against the state or any other party to, rectify the years that he spent in prison?
Well, certainly there is, but until Ryan Ferguson is sitting at the Thanksgiving table, I'm not going to sit here and talk really about that. Just to say to you that there are civil rights cases. We're doing a trial in Washington next month for a police officer who was framed and was in for 20 years. So yeah, there's civil actions, but we just want to get Ryan Ferguson out the front door of the prison. So.
I'd like to hear from Ryan's mother or father, if you had a
Yeah.
chance to talk to him today, tell us what the conversation was about and what you're hoping to do when he's out.
Yes, we were fortunate to speak to him early this morning, and he was extremely happy, obviously, elated, relieved, but knowing that we have a long battle ahead of us, as Kathleen just mentioned, with the state deciding whether or not they're going to pursue another trial or not. And until he's free, then he's not free.
And you looked at the ruling this morning very early. You guys have gone through this too all these years. What was your feeling? Were you shocked, disbelieved? What was your reaction?
Well, we always knew that that he would be free eventually. It wasn't a matter of if, it was a matter of when. So when we read the unanimous, and I cannot emphasize that enough, the unanimous opinion of all three judges who actually looked at the case rather than rubber stamp it like we've seen in the past, then we always knew this day would come. And it really gives you confidence when you have a great attorney.
Leslie, about you, what about you?
Everything that Bill said, I mean, it's really an exciting moment for our family, and it's just sad that here all of this is going on and Ryan still can't be a part of it. So until he is free, he's not free. I mean, we are looking forward to that day when he can walk out of there and truly be free.
Kathleen, the ruling was very specific, but it was also very broad. Just one takeaway from quoting from the document that says, Ferguson's conviction is not a verdict worthy of either judicial or public confidence. What does that tell you, the broad nature of a statement like that? What does that tell you about this case and also about your prospects for getting an actually?
I think that's an unusual comment because the standard is the verdict worthy of confidence? But for the court to go on and say that it's not worthy of judicial or public confidence, I think, speaks to the fact that common sense would tell anyone that when you don't have any evidence, someone should not continue to be locked up. So, I mean, I think the court went extremely far in condemning what had happened.
Do you think that bodes well for the future steps in this case and actually getting Ryan home in time for Thanksgiving?
Absolutely. I think this opinion, this court, these three judges are certainly among the best judges in Missouri. And we knew that when we drew them as a panel. This is just an outstanding panel that knows and has been involved in other exonerations in Missouri. They absolutely know what the law is. And I can't imagine that this would be overturned by the Missouri Supreme Court. And I've been talking to Missouri attorneys all day as we drove over here, and people felt that this opinion is bulletproof.
Will this case in any way set a precedent for future cases like this?
Absolutely. This case will be, for years, I think, the leading case in Missouri on habeas law. This absolutely is that well crafted that it will be the leading case in many different aspects, but definitely.
What does this case say when you have a case where just based on a statement made by someone who knows what others, they would be locked up and tried?
Well, remember though that you have two witnesses who lied, and you have one witness who said they committed the murder with Ryan, and you have another witness that placed Ryan there. And so the jury's sitting there, they're not thinking they're listening to perjured testimony, they think they're listening to the truth. So I don't think it was surprising that there was a conviction because of the testimony itself. What no one knew was all the evidence that was concealed and that these two witnesses were lying. So that's what's taken so long to unravel.
What is your advice to Ryan today?
I think when we parted, that the message that Doug Johnson and I conveyed to him was that we'll never stop fighting for him, and that we're going to walk out the door of that prison with him, and we're going to do it sooner rather than later. And our goal is to have him sitting at the Thanksgiving table with these three people. So there is no ends to which, we won't go to get him out. We are going to do everything possible. And there are hundreds of thousands of people in the country following this case, probably millions. So if the Italian government can let Amanda Knox go, even though her confession was coerced, surely a young man who's done nothing but protest his innocence when there is no evidence, her DNA is on the knife they think was the murder weapon, surely in America someone like that should be set free. This cannot be American justice, and it's not going to be. And I think the court told us that today. So,
do you think the case would have reached this point if it hadn't gotten the amount of publicity that it did?
I do, because I think that once all the evidence started being dismantled, and that started way back at the 2915 hearing, the court went all the way back and reviewed all the evidence in the case. Yeah. I mean, we've had other cases that haven't gotten nearly this much publicity, but the right thing has still happened. The way it's happened for most of our cases is ultimately the prosecution says, Uncle, you're right, this person's innocent, there isn't any evidence here to retry, and they let them go. The last three cases I've had, the Cook County State's Attorney's Office, their wrongful conviction integrity unit has agreed to let our clients go. And that's the way this should work. We shouldn't be wasting judicial resources on a case that's so completely flawed.
What questions is your office still trying to get answered at this point?
When? Where do we pick him up? Give us the time, give us the place, because we're going to be there.
What happens next after today? After everybody leaves this room, what's going to happen next?
Well, we'll go back to our office, and I will talk to the Attorney General office. I plan to do that, to see if they've reached any decision. And we're going to wait the 7 days and see what they do with the bond motion. And then if nothing gets filed, we're going to drive back over here at a high rate of speed with the radar detector. So, okay. So do you all have more on? Micah, did you get to talk to Ryan?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah.
What's the first thing, maybe some answer he wants to do when he gets out?
Could you step up to the podium and address that? Would you mind, so we can get it on the microphone?
Or anyone in the
She
family?
doesn't want to.
Bill, you
That's
guys
okay.
can-
You don't have to.
Pardon me?
Bill, you can.
Yeah, why don't we switch?
Thank you.
What's the
It
first
seems
thing-
very strange taking over the podium after Kathleen Ziller. It's a hard act to follow, but I'll attempt to answer your questions. What's your question? I'm sorry.
What's the first thing that Ryan expressed he wants to do when he gets out?
Well, spend time with the family, and then once we get to know each other again, we're going to be heading to the basketball court and playing some basketball. Of course, we'll have to swing by the mall and pick up some tennis shoes. And so if any of you people want to play some basketball, you're looking for a pickup game, please let us know, because we're ready to play.
And again, just tell us since you're the mic now, just your feeling when you read the ruling this morning, what was going through your mind?
I just felt vindicated for Ryan that he's always said he was innocent. He's never changed one syllable of his opening statement from the day he was arrested, and he's always maintained that. And as each succeeding day went by, we found more and more inconsistencies and false information that the prosecutor had presented, and we were able to shoot holes through many pieces of testimony that was presented. And you can see those in the 54-page document that the Western District Court presented. And as Kathleen has just stated, that is a great document to read to really get a good taste of how to write a great finding. That's tremendous. So all the things we've ever talked about and complained about, they're pretty much in that 54-page document.
Where does your family stand now as opposed to before all of this happened?
In regards to?
In regards to how, what has your family, how has your family changed?
It hasn't changed at all. We're just, if anything, we're closer. Well, we do have a new member. We have Micah now. But other than that, pretty much the same. We're a very close family. And you can see we all support each other, and we will fight for each other to the bitter end, just like any of you other parents would do for your children. So we're not any different than any other set of parents. We just happen to be the ones in this particular situation. But I would encourage parents to always stay involved with their children and to always defend them, always protect them, and always listen to them. And that's a message we'd like to send.
After this point, will you take any other actions to help any other families who might be in the same situation?
Yeah, I could think of one right now, and his name would be Charles Erickson. He's not guilty. He didn't do anything wrong. He was manipulated and coerced into giving false testimony. He was led to believe that he could be executed if he didn't participate with the prosecution, and he's innocent. He has no idea. He was blacked out that night. He has no idea what happened, and he just filled in the spaces. So yeah, we're going to try to help exonerate him. He needs to be exonerated. And the second thing we want to do is find out who the true perpetrators of this crime happens to be. And I'm so glad you asked that question. You probably didn't ask the question, did you? But now I got your attention. We're looking for this particular individual right here. And if you want to pick up a quick $10,000, just identify this individual right here. This is the person that was behind the car that Shauna Arndt drew the composite of. There was a huge light right above her head. It illuminated his face. And you could see him, or she could see him very clearly. She drew the composite. Prosecutor Crane didn't let her answer the question, is that the person that you saw? Is that Ryan Ferguson you saw? No. He knew what her answer was, so he didn't let her answer that question. Well, the question we had is, who is this individual? We want to know. Somebody knows who he is. So if you could come forth, some of your friends, put it out in the media. If we can identify this person, there's a $10,000 reward for that particular individual. And this person did not commit the crime. This person knows, or we think he knows, who committed the crime. This is the missing link. So that would help out tremendously. So if anybody needs a copy, let us know.
So do you forgive Chuck Erickson?
I'm sorry?
Do you forgive Chuck Erickson?
We forgave him a long time ago. And same way with Jerry Trump. You know, they were put in a very, very difficult situation, and they were fighting for their lives. The prosecutors put them in an untenable situation, and they were fighting for their lives. You're 19 years old, and you're put in a situation that they tell you that your head's on the chopping block unless you cooperate. Guess what? You're probably going to cooperate. And if you're Jerry Trump and you've been sent to prison and you just were released after serving 3 years, and if you don't cooperate, you're going to go back for the additional 2 years as a child molester or some acts against children, I don't remember exactly what it was, then you're going to cooperate. So we understand the pressure that they were under, and I wonder how many of us would not have caved under that sort of pressure. So we don't hold anything against them. They did the best they could under the circumstances, and they came forth and admitted they committed perjury, and they subjected themselves to some very harsh sentencing, possibly.
I kind of told you I see Ryan as Grayson and Ryan, the way he's handled incarceration, and we would destroy some people, they would just break down. He has really flourished describe his personality, how it's kind of a testament to his character?
Well, the way I would look at Ryan, I think the way we would look at him, he has a strong spirit. He has a strong spirit about himself. He's an independent thinker, and he just wants to improve himself. He wants to be a better person, and that was demonstrated by working with the other inmates and helping them with their high school diplomas. And in fact, one of the things he did I thought was really amazing, beyond playing basketball, is he led several discussion groups. The first one he did was, which totally amazes me, was George Orwell's 1984. And you know, that's not a group of people that really get into George Orwell. But there's a whole wing that knows all about George Orwell now. And now they even read Animal Farm. So he, a little easier to read. But
currently he's reading Notes from the Underground by Dr. Quiz. So he has educated himself. He's very literate now, extremely knowledgeable.
very, we're so proud of him, so proud of him. You know, there's some people, no matter what you do, you cannot keep them down. He's an example of that, and we're just so proud of him. And any of us can rise to that level if we want. Any one of us. And he's demonstrated how it can be done. So, thank you for the question.
Are you going to repaint the car now?
You know, I might put a little different message on the car now. But like Kathleen said, we're going to be very cautious. I don't know how cautious I've been, but about what we say, because Ryan isn't sitting around that Thanksgiving table yet, just yet. But yeah, I'll probably modify the car a little bit. Yes?
What do you say to all the support you've received over the years? What do you say to all the people who believe?
Oh, what can you say to those people? You know, it was like a railway car on the siding. And if you push that car, it's very difficult to do. I don't know if any of you have ever done it. Actually, I've never done it. It's just an example I use. But if you start to push it, that wheel makes one rotation. And then the second rotation comes quicker. And then the third rotation is even quicker than that. And you start building up that momentum. And that's what Ryan's supporters have done, and all the supporters of the supporters. And now, I don't know if you've been on the webpage or not, or the Facebook, we got a thing that we call Ryan's Face Around the World. And our photographs of Ryan around the world. And people are holding up signs in front of the Eiffel Tower or Sydney Harbor Bridge, whatever it happens to be, saying "Free Ryan." You know, little kids, 5 and 6 years old, 80-year-old grandmothers, all across, and not just this country. Obviously, Sydney Harbor Bridge isn't in this country, but Uzbekistan, Egypt, the Middle East, places that most of us have never been to, probably should go to, are supporting Ryan all across. When I was in Washington, D.C. With a film crew, with Jinx, Andrew Jinx, who's doing a documentary on Ryan, we were in front of the White House, not in the White House, in front of the White House, and we were filming, and the young cameramen were saying, "Talk to the good-looking blonde girls, talk to the good-looking blonde girls." I'm like, oh my gosh, okay. So I talked to the good-looking blonde girls, who turns out they're from Denmark. And so I show them a couple of a brochure of Ryan, and the two girls are looking at each other, back and forth, and they go, "He's Ryan Ferguson, it's Ryan Ferguson." He was on their Facebook. They knew, of course the cameramen are going crazy, so hopefully that'll come out. That'll be great. But he's known, I think he's getting to be known around the world. So we cannot thank the local supporters, the national and international supporters enough. Absolutely amazing. It just goes to show you the power of social media. Unbelievable. Well, thank you very much.
If anybody wants to photograph this statement that Ryan wrote, I'll have to leave it up here.
Yes, and let me get another photograph. If you want a photograph, we'll just lay this one up beside it.
What can the public do to help Ryan right now?
You know what they could do?
I read something about
Find this guy right here. Find this guy right here would be a great help.
Before you do that, though, contact your attorney at his office. You know, if you want to express support for him, that this battle should stop now.
Right.
And he should be allowed to go home with his family. and they should continue the investigation for the real murderer
Yeah.
and high hope. But this battle needs to stop. This is a battle that has no redeeming purpose, so it should stop.
Yeah, they've already wasted enough taxpayer dollars. Do we want to keep wasting more taxpayer dollars? Read the opinion, you can say the odds of them winning that case is pretty remote. I mean, who would be the first witness that they would call? What would be the first evidence they would submit? I think that's going to be that would be tough to do. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. I think the answer will be not a legal question. I think it'll be a political question. So, thank you very much. Yes, one more question. Yes.
Is there anything you'd like to add about today, the past years?
Well, for myself, I would like to say, again, thanks for all the supporters, and thank all of you in the press corps, which has grown tremendously, and I think have reported the story very well. I appreciate your unbiased, very straightforward reporting. We really appreciate that. And I think the reporting and the large networks, what they've done, and then everybody else coming along, has been a tremendous amount of help. And I think sent a strong message to other prosecutors and other jurisdictions throughout the United States. But perhaps someone over here would like to say something.
We just want to thank everybody. I mean, it is amazing the amount of support that Ryan has and how meaningful that has been for us as a family to know that there are so many people who have followed his case and who have been there to support us. It may not make a huge difference in the legal world, but in our world it has made a huge difference. And we want everyone to know how much we appreciate their support.
What has this fight been like for your family, day in and day out, year after year, to get to this point?
It's a fight and a challenge that we gladly embrace. We just feel fortunate to have the strength and the endurance and the finances, thanks to Kathleen, that we can fight it. It's cost us a tremendous amount of money and effort to do it, to get to the point before we even met Kathleen, and she's carried the ball the rest of the way, and we really greatly appreciate that. But as far as a family, it's made us stronger, and we're willing and accept the fight, and we accept the next phase of the fight. We will never surrender. So that's always been our mentality. All right. Well, thank you very much. Thank you so much for coming, and thank you for your patience. Thank you.